Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Week 12 of the NFL starts Thursday night. Week 11, yeah, between my picks and fantasy football, I don't want to talk about it. Basically, I felt like the Denver Broncos and the Philadelphia Eagles and RG3 all wrapped in one. So that tells you how my week went. Um, we're just going to skip over that and move on to week 12. You know what? I've soaked on it for 24 hours now. Yeah, it was bad. So guess what? We're going to start fresh now. Week 12 starts right now. All right, Thursday night. We have the arch rival, division rival, Kansas City Chiefs going into Oakland. Kansas City 7-3, tied for the AFC West lead. Obviously, Oakland 0-10, bringing up the rear in that division. This rivalry was dated back to 1960. The Chiefs actually lead the overall series 57-51 to 2. Chiefs have won 2 straight against the Raiders, but the 11 games prior to that, Oakland won 8-3 versus Kansas City. Their last meeting, Kansas City won 56-21. History of these two teams, like I said, dated back to 1960. Then the Dallas Texans, currently known as Kansas City Chiefs, and the Oakland Raiders. Overall point-wise, in the history of this rivalry, 2,210 for the Chiefs, 2,074 for the Raiders. I know growing up in the Kansas City area, and Raider Week was always that big rivalry, week for them. You knew when Raider Week was coming up because the fans would change, and the Raider fans came in, the hated Raiders. In this one, Kansas City is favored by 7.5. I'm actually picking the Chiefs to win. The Chiefs are, flying really high right now. Obviously, with after that shellacking of the Patriots on Monday night, the Patriots have taken off. The Chiefs have taken off. Like I said, the Chiefs are favored by 7.5. I'm taking them to win. I'm taking the under on the 43 points. Next game, we have the 6-4 Cleveland Browns versus the 4-6 NFC South tie with the New Orleans Saints leaders at 4-6. Cleveland at 6-4. I think this is a must-win for them. If you look at the playoff picture, there's a lot of teams sitting there at 6-4. I look at it as being a must-win for them. This is the third time since 1967 that a division leader has been 2 games under 500 at this point in the season. The last time that happened was in 2010, was in the NFC West. So I'm picking the Browns to win. I'll give them the 3.5 points and taking the under on the 47 points. We have the 2-8 Tennessee Titans versus the 7-3 Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is tied with Dallas for the NFC East lead. Philadelphia had the most points scored on them last week, 53 by Green Bay, the most since 1992. Philadelphia is favored by 11 in this. I'm taking Philly to win with the points. I'm taking the under on the 48 overall points. I think Philly's going to bounce back from last week. That wasn't a typical Philly defense game. I tell you, giving up 53 points to Green Bay like that is just, it was pretty bad for them. I think they'll bounce back this week. I think Sanchez another week under his belt. Hopefully he'll just get more involved in the Chip Kelly offense and let McCoy and Macklin and all his, Riley Cooper, all his weapons do what they need to do, and all Sanchez is going to do is protect the pigskin and to hand it to the people that need it. So I got Philadelphia winning that. Next we have the 7-3 NFC North tie with Green Bay Detroit Lions versus the NFC East leading 8-2 New England Patriots. Patriots are favored by 7 at home. Like I said, New England's won 6 straight since that debacle on Monday night versus Kansas City. And those 6 games, 4 of them, Tom Brady has scored over 40 points. New England's favored by 7. I'll take them with the win and the points. 48.5. I'm taking the over on the points, overall points. I think if Peyton throws up another 40, and Stafford's been throwing some points up, that this could be a very high-scoring game. New England's actually scoring 32.3 points a game. Detroit's scoring 18.8. So I think with the 4 out of the last 6 games over 40, that Brady is going to light it up again. So New England winning that. We got the 7-3, like I said earlier, NFC North tied with the Lions, the Green Bay Packers versus the 4-6 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is another one of those teams at 4-6. Are they going to win out? Probably not, but they're in the position where they got must-win games finally this year. You know, must-win. If they keep winning, they can maybe get to 9-7 and maybe get a wild card. It depends on what happens in NFC this year. But Green Bay's favored by 10 in this. Back-to-back weeks, Aaron Rodgers put up 50 points. I don't know if he can do that again. Green Bay's favored by 10. They're at Minnesota. I like Green Bay in this. Giving Minnesota the points, though. Green Bay will win. Minnesota the points. 49.5. I'm taking the over on that. Because I think if Aaron Rodgers starts going crazy and scoring 50 again, obviously 49.5. Little note, Adrian Peterson was announced. He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge with the child abuse allegation. He has been suspended by the NFL without pay for the rest of the season. I applaud the NFL on this. I think that was a really good move. I know he pleaded no contest or whatever he actually pleaded. I think he pleaded no contest to misdemeanor. I think this is how it should have played out. When the incident happened, he was taken off the field. He was off the field until either he went to trial or pleaded guilty. The NFL ruled he's suspended the rest of the season. He's appealed that, so he's obviously suspended until the appeal hearing and go from there. I don't think they should change it. I think this is the way this should work. You do a crime, you're off the field. Once it's resolved in the courts, NFL, brings down the punishment, and you're done. That's how it should work. I applaud the NFL. I think they got this right. They got the Ray Rice thing wrong on both times, but I think with Peterson, they got it right. Sorry, Gio. I know you're a Vikings fan, but that's how I think it. Patriots all the way. Jacksonville 1-9 versus the 6-4 AFC South leading Indianapolis Colts. Colts are favored by 14. Taking the Colts to win. I'm taking the under on the 15.5 points. We have the AFC North leading Cincinnati Bengals at 6-3-1 versus the 5-5 Houston Texans. Houston is actually favored at home by 1.5. Houston's another one of those teams there in the AFC with the playoff hunt that they're kind of a must-win. They need to keep winning to stay up with everybody else. Defensive lineman J.J. Watt now has 3 offensive touchdowns this season. That is the most by any defensive lineman have an offensive touchdown since 1938. Just seeing J.J. Watt able to play both sides of the ball has been amazing. This his catching ability. It looks like a tight end. I think he played tight end in college. I just think it's amazing how athletic this guy is. No wonder he's one of the highest paid players in the league. I got Houston winning this. The 2-8 hopeless New York Jets versus the 5-5 AFC least leading Buffalo Bills. Oh, excuse me. It's an AFC 5-5 Bills. It's an AFC East matchup between the Jets and the Bills. Buffalo is favored by 4.5. I'm taking the Bills to win this at home, and I'm taking the under on the 40 points. The 2-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the 4-6 Chicago Bears. Chicago's another one of those teams that's sitting in the NFC at 4-6. It's must win if they want to do anything this year. They got to win out to go 10-6. I actually think it'll actually take that in the NFC. Maybe a 9-17 might squeeze in. But the way Cutler's been playing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last week, I'm taking Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this one. Obviously, we've seen what the Bucs did to the Redskins. The Bucs defense isn't horrible. It isn't great, but it's not horrible. So I'm taking Tampa Bay to win. I'll give them the 6 points. I'm taking the under on the 46.5. We have the 9-1 NFC West leading Arizona Cardinals versus the 6-4 Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle at a whole 12th man, Seattle is 4-1 at home this year. They're favored by 6 points. I am actually taking the Arizona Cardinals to go into Seattle and beat them. I'll give them the points at 6. Taking the under on the 44. Seattle this year started 3-1, and they've been 3-3 ever since. A little note, Marshawn Lynch and Pete Carroll don't look like they're getting along very well. I guess at halftime in this game, the last week's game, Marshawn Lynch didn't go to the locker room. He stayed on the bench for halftime. They kind of played it off that it was an injury and he was getting treatment on the bench. I don't know what's going on there. I know there's been some heat between those two guys, so we'll see what happens. Well, obviously, everybody remembers Marshawn Lynch missing some of the preseason holdout for his contract and stuff, so we'll have to pay attention to that and see what happens. We had the 4-6 St. Louis Rams at the 6-4 San Diego Chargers. Both teams must win. Obviously, Rams 4-6 beating the Broncos last week. They actually beat the Seattle Seahawks earlier in the year, so they beat the last year's Super Bowl teams. I still think that 49er game a few weeks ago was a 49er loss, not a Rams win. San Diego's favored by 5.5 at home. I'm going against everything I've done all year. I'm taking the Rams in this. I'm giving the Rams the 5.5, and I'll take the under on the 44 points. That Rams defense is, I don't know where they came from all of a sudden, but damn, I guess this is what they wanted at the beginning of the year. If Sean Hill just hold on the ball and not turn it over and have a little bit of offense like they did against Broncos, who thought the Rams could shut down the Broncos? I know I took the Broncos by 10.5 last week. I know BDG Productions took them by 10.5. I believe Gio took them by 10.5. And yeah, St. Louis won by 13. So go figure that one out. I'm taking the Rams to win this by 5.5. Next, we have the 6-4 Miami Dolphins at the 7-3, tied for the AFC West lead with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. Denver is favored by 8. They are 5-0 at home this year. Last week, Peyton had 10 of his 54 passes off target. That's his third worst since joining the Broncos. The Broncos defense has been really good this year. They've allowed one 100-yard rusher, and that was last week to Trey Mason and the St. Louis Rams. I'm taking Denver to win this, but I'm giving the points to Miami. Nope, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Denver to win this. I'll Denver win by the points. I'm taking the under on the 50.5. It's a must-win for Miami, but I don't think they'll be able to go to Mile High and do it. I think Peyton will bounce back and be Peyton of old. Next, we have the 3-7 Washington Redskins versus the 6-4 San Francisco 49ers at San Francisco. The 49ers are favored by 9. The Redskins are just bad right now. RG3 has been sacked 5 times or more each of the last 5 out of 7 games. And then obviously everything going on with him and Jay Gruden in the media right now. I guess RG3 came out and said that the team needs to play better around him, that he knows he needs to play better, but the team needs to play better. And then Jay Gruden came out and said this.
Here we go. First of all, Robert needs to understand he needs to worry about himself, number one, and not everybody else. It's his job to worry about his position, his footwork, his fundamentals, his reads, his progressions, his job at the quarterback position. It's my job to worry about everybody else. His place is to talk about himself, and he knows that.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all's take on what Jay Gruden said, but I think it is RG3's business what his offensive line is doing, because if he's getting his ass whooped, 5 or more sacks in 5 out of the last 7 games, he needs to be saying something to that offensive line, and yeah, he needs better protection. I agree with the head coach. It is the coach's job to talk to the other team, but somebody's got to fire somebody up and help the Redskins out of this disaster they are in right now. I got the 49ers by 9, and the under on the 45 points. We have the NFC East tie leader, Dallas Cowboys at 7-3 on Sunday night versus the 3-7 New York Giants. Typically, this Dallas-New York game at the end of the year like this has always been a playoff push. One is going to make, hopefully both of them make the playoffs. Unfortunately, this year, no. Going into New York on Sunday night, Dallas is favored by 3.5. I'm taking Dallas to win by 3.5, and I'm taking the under on the 48 points. Dallas is 4-0 on the road this year. The Giants do not look good. I don't know what they need to do, if it's Eli, if it's Coughlin, if it's both. I know Eli's got a pretty big contract, next few years, so they're going to get rid of him. I know last week, I believe it was 7 interceptions between Eli and his brother Peyton, one of the worst weekends for the brothers combined. The last 2 years, Eli has not looked good in New York. I don't know if a change of scenery would work. Maybe New York needs to look at doing something with Eli. Maybe next year bringing in Sam Bradford. Yeah, he's going to come off 2 ACLs in 2 years, but I don't know if he'll be back in St. Louis. Maybe Eli comes to St. Louis. Maybe they'll work something out. But New York needs to do something. They need to blow that roster up. I know Victor Cruz is out this year. He should be back for next year, but we'll see what happens. But I got the Dallas winning by 3.5 and the under on the 48 points. We have Monday night. We have the AFC North leader 6-4 Baltimore Ravens versus the NFC South tie leaders at 4-6 the New Orleans Saints. I don't know what's wrong with the Saints this year. They've been bad. I got Baltimore. The Saints are favored by 3.5. I'm taking Baltimore to win. I'll get it in the 3.5. I'm taking the under on the 50 points. So I got Baltimore winning on Monday night. Kind of take a peek at the playoff picture. In the AFC, we have obviously the Patriots, the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Colts division leaders. We have the Chiefs sitting there at 7-3, and then we have 5 teams at 6-4. We get the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Browns all sitting there at 6-4. We also have Houston and Buffalo at 5-5. So you got 7 teams within one game of each other fighting for one playoff spot. Obviously, if Denver, Kansas City falter, or one of those teams falter, somebody else can step up and take it. I know that AFC South, everybody's above 500 right now. Everybody's at 6-4 or better. So only maybe 1 or 2 teams out of that division will make it. The NFC is a little more clear going on right now. We get Arizona at 9-1, Detroit and Philly both at 7-3. Atlanta leading that NFC South. That's horrible at 4-6. Green Bay and Dallas both at 7-3. So there's your 6 playoff teams, and we got Seattle and San Francisco both at 6-4. And then we got 2 games behind that. We got the Saints, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Rams. So like I said, it's a lot of teams have a lot of must-win games coming up. That will wrap up the Week 12 NFL picks and preview. I'm your host, Robert, and you all have a spiffy night. Thanks for